Hey everybody, it's Wendy Wright. In this bonus video, I'm going to teach you how to figure out your type. So let's start with what you already are. Right now you are, because you exist, somebody's child. So you're somebody's son or you're somebody's daughter. And when you are putting together clips for your clip library on your Actors Access profile, you can start with things that you already are. So let's say you're playing someone's son or daughter. The conversation would be between you and your parent, okay, or a foster parent or a step parent. Maybe you're having a conflict with one of those people. Maybe you have something you're excited to share with one of those people, or you have a problem that you're bringing to one of those people, or one of those people are a problem for you. So that is what the scene could be about. So we're just starting with the basics. What are you really in real life? Somebody's son or daughter. You're maybe somebody's sibling, somebody's best friend. Okay, so let's say you're a sister or brother, or a stepsister, stepbrother. A conversation you could have in a clip would be with your sibling. Maybe you're having an argument. Maybe you're warning them about something. Maybe you're sneaking out of the house and they're covering for you. Maybe you're putting an elderly parent in a nursing home. Some kind of family relationship is taking place in that clip. Now, you're obviously somebody's friend, right? Maybe you're someone's best friend. What would you be talking about in a clip with one of your friends? That's another type of clip you could create. You're having a relationship with your best friend. You're sharing intimate secrets. You're steering them away from somebody they're dating. You're listening to a problem that they have, and then you're giving your advice. What would you do in a conversation with a friend? That's another kind of clip that you could create. Okay, so I'm just talking about the very first things you figure out when you figure out type is what are you really? Someone's son, daughter, mother, father, sister, aunt, uncle, grandparent, right? And figuring out clips like that. Then the next thing we want to go to are things anybody could ever possibly be: a patient in a hospital. You could fall and break your arm, God forbid. Anybody could be a patient in a hospital. So a scene where you're playing a patient. And who would you be talking to? A doctor or a nurse. Or say you're worried about somebody who is in the hospital and you're like a family member or a friend. That's another scene you could do. It's another type of role you could play. You know, they just brought my grandmother in. Is she going to be okay? Or we were in a car accident. My friend, is she going to be okay? Or you're waiting for someone to have a baby. Or you are having a baby and you're telling people what it is. Whatever would actually happen in real life as a patient in a hospital, you could play that. All right? Then the other thing that could happen to anybody in real life is a victim of a crime. Let's say your car was robbed, or anybody could be the victim of a purse being stolen or a wallet being stolen. And in those crime shows, it's usually somebody's been killed or you've killed somebody. So anybody could have witnessed a crime. Anybody could have witnessed a crime. And now you're telling who? Who are you talking to? Now you're telling the police what you saw. Maybe you're lying. Maybe you actually committed the crime and you're covering up, or you're covering for someone else. These are all scenes that you can create, types of roles you could play. And then those kind of shows, hospital shows, doctor shows, cop shows, these are called procedurals on television. Procedurals means every single week there's another episode. The procedure is followed. They find the body. They figure out the forensics. They study the blood splatter and the patterns and then the motives and all that, and they investigate the witnesses. There's a guest star, which is usually who that crime is about and their family members and stuff. And then the next week they repeat the same pattern again, the same procedure again. Okay, so that is what a procedural is called. And those shows need thousands and thousands of actors, new faces all the time. So that's why you want to create clips that are right for procedurals, because you can't be a doctor on the show one week and then a patient the next and then a lawyer the next and then a cop on the same show. Once you're on a show like that as a character, only that character can come back again. Okay, so if they rewrite more episodes, like say you commit a crime and you're the criminal on Criminal Minds, you can't come back the next week as a detective. Make sense? But they can revisit your character in jail in a future episode to ask you to clarify some stuff about a crime that you did. Or maybe you know somebody in jail now that they can get more intel from, right? So that's the kind of thing you want to start with. Who are you really? What kind of real relationships do you have? What could you play on procedurals? Now we're going to branch out into your living, your vocation. Here's another way to figure out your types. What could you do for a living? Are you a cop, doctor, nurse, teacher, lawyer? Are you a student? And then we're talking about kinds of roles like, are you a gamer, surfer? Are you a cheerleader? Are you a bully? Are you an insecure, well, like a, what is it, like an underdog, which is actually kind of a way to play a role. Never mind. Let me stick with vocations. Are you a football player? An athlete? Are you a coach? Are you a scientist, a botanist, a biologist, a veterinarian, a real estate agent, a secretary, any of these things, a fireman, a paramedic? What kind of vocation do you have? That's another way to figure out the types of roles you could play. You also might play period pieces if you have that type of look, or if you do certain British accents. And now to figure out more of your type, let's talk about types of shows. Okay, I just mentioned procedurals, but now I want to take that further. Sci-fi shows. Could you play a character in a sci-fi show? Supernatural shows. That's like witches and demons and ghosts, and vampires, and people with supernatural powers. Could you play something like that? We can also look at sitcoms. Do you do comedy? If comedy is your thing, maybe there are plenty of sitcom shows or family dramas. Do you fit into those types of roles? What about the Lifetime television? Let's go to networks. The Lifetime television. Lifetime movies. They're always kind of sappy and mushy and everybody's happy and friendly and there's a little gossip and this and that. Do you play in those kind of roles? Or are you in the teen dramas? Do you play like in Gossip Girl or any of the CW shows? Could you play something like that? Disney, Nickelodeon. So one of the things that I suggest when you're trying to figure out your type is watch television. Anybody who's going to be on television needs to know and understand what is on television and where you fit in television. So an exercise I will give you is sit down with whenever you're watching TV, have a notebook next to you. Sit down with your notebook and be taking notes. I see myself on that show. I could play that character. Write it down. What's the name of the show? What kind of character was it? What did they wear? If you want to take a snapshot, really get into it. What kind of character is that you could have played? And you're going to start to see a kind of pattern. You fit on this show. You fit on that show. And that kind of helps you understand where you fit in the world of television. I also want to explain that brand is different than type. Okay? Your brand is the way you play those roles. So anybody could play someone's son or daughter or sibling. But think about the brand. So for example, let's take Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci. Their brand is the tough guy. Whether they're playing someone's brother, wife, husband, sibling, father, son, whatever, their approach, and usually types of roles they pick, are the tough guy, the bad boy, the hitman, the mafia. That's their brand, okay? They could be someone's best friend, but that's still the way they play it, with a toughness, with a seriousness, with an edge. That's the edginess. That's their brand, okay? Actors like, I don't know if you know who Bill Murray is, but actors like Bill Murray play things in a very goofy way. Or Robin Williams used to play things in a very goofy, playful way. Sometimes he would step out of that brand and play very sensitive. And at the very end of his career, he played like a killer, a psychopath, and that's very off-brand for him. That's not really what his brand was built on. His brand was built on his comedy and his neurotic behavior. Or if you look at Jim Carrey, his brand has always been physical comedy. Or if you're an old school person, John Ritter, that was his brand, the physical slapstick comedy. If we look at someone like Diane Keaton, her brand is neurotic, nutty. She's always frazzled and doesn't know what she's doing. And it doesn't matter if she's someone's grandmother, mother, sister, a secretary, a wife. She's always neurotic and frazzled. So that's your brand. If you look at Michelle Rodriguez, Her brand is this tough girl, don't fuck with her. That's her brand. And that's why people hire her, for that brand. And if they want someone soft and sensual and girl-like, it's Scarlett Johansson, a kind of a girl who's kind of got a manly qualities. She's in a show right now. Oh God, her name just slipped my mind, but it's the Mars show that she's in right now. I can't remember it. She won an Academy Award. I can't remember, sorry. But just thinking about you will start to figure out your brand as you take acting classes and as you approach roles. When you get the script, your job is going to be to put your essence into the script, put your vibe, your feeling, your take. So yes, you've got the script, the dialogue written by someone else, and the scenario is written by someone else. But your job is to also put parts of your personality into that script, into that character. And as you do that more and more, your brand will start to emerge. How you approach roles will start to show. And so I want to wish you luck as you figure out your type. It's really easy now that you have these very clear directions about how to figure it out. And it probably was complicated before, and obviously, if you haven't been taught, how would you know, right? So now that you know, you're going to look at the brand, the type sheet that we have in the Winner Circle course, which lists all kinds of types of characters that you can play, and check off the things that are right for you. If you are tall and skinny and bony and you don't have a lot of meat on you, you're not a bodybuilder, right? You're probably a surfer. You could play a drug addict. You could play a crack addict, or you could play a gamer, a nerdy, a tech guy, these kind of things. If you're a big hulking guy, you're going to play a bouncer, a football player, a coach. So a lot of times your body type helps to figure out what types of roles you're going to play. Not when it comes to sister, daughter, brother, mother, father, right? Anybody could play those kind of roles. Like I said, anybody could play patient, criminal. Anybody could kill somebody, God forbid. It could be a hit and run, and you're hiding from the police. Anybody could play the witness to a crime, and that doesn't have to do anything with your body type. But certain roles do have to do with body type. So usually a heavy girl is not going to play the lead role with Tom Cruise as the most beautiful girl in the room, which James Bond girls or these kind of things. And that is not changing just because there are a lot more roles for heavy women. That's still the stereotype for the leading man. It's the quintessential skinny, perfectly built, great body, Charlize Theron. That's the type of role that leading ladies typically have to look like. The type of body you have to have, okay? And for the leading man in films, you typically have to have like this drop-dead gorgeous appearance, or you're a character actor and you're like Jeremy Renner or Shia LaBeouf. It's like you're cute, you're handsome, whatever, but your intensity is the character. Or your comedy is the character. So that's different than Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise. There's a different essence to your character. There's an edginess. That's the character. That's the role. That's the edginess. Yeah, that's the character. Sometimes De Niro or Pesci or Pacino. Any of those could be great in a hitman movie, in a mobster movie. Any of them could be great. And when they're all together, it's even better, right? All right, so that's my bonus video for you guys about figuring out your type. Sit down and think about it. Work it out in class. Look at television and see where you fit in. And if you see other people that are like you, that will help you figure out your type. And a really good suggestion from Agent Sean Perez, is watch TV, and when you see someone, I think this video is jumping. A really good suggestion from Agent Sean Perez, every time I say his name, it jumps. So I'm just going to let Nadine, if you can edit all of this out and just end it. So that's the bonus video for you on figuring out your type, and I'll see you inside the Winner Circle.